Hey everyone, Diego with Listener's Notes. Today I wanted to give you guys my top 50 albums for the year 2017. I love every single album on this list. 2017 for me has been a very good year in music. Obviously there's a lot of debate that could happen with that, and a lot of it is opinion based, of course. But yeah, every single album on this list is great. I recommend all of them. I will try my best to include the genre when I list them, so you kind of get an idea of what kind of music I'm talking about. And yeah, for the first 25, I'm just gonna list them and what kind of music they are. The overall amount of time these bands and albums will last on the video is very short. Once I get to the top 25, I'm going to be going into much more detail about why I like these albums. So yeah, let's just get right into this without further ado. My favorite 50 albums from the year 2017. At number 50, we have the technical death metal insanity that is Pyrrhon's album What Passes for Survival. At 49, we have indie pop group The XX coming through with I See You. And at number 48, we have abstract and progressive rapper Open My Eagle with his conceptual album Brick Body Kids Still Daydream. With number 47, we have technical death metal mixed with black metal on Artificial Brain's Infrared Horizon. And with number 46, we have a neoclassical prepared piano piece by Hauschka titled What If. At number 45, we have the jazzy, funky, soulful R&B combination that is Thundercat Drunk. And at number 44, we have the very rigid and sexually driven pop that is St. Vincent's Masseduction. At number 443, we have some atmospheric black metal from Fen titled Winter. And at number 42, the crossover jazz band Kneebody brings a very enjoyable and layered album in Antihero. At number 41, we have indie rock band Flotation Toy Warning with a beautiful and, in my opinion, very well written project, The Machines That Made Us. At number 40, we have pop star Bjork with the project Utopia. And at number 39, we have Jesca, indie folk artist with a lot of great writing and hooks on this album, entitled Memories Are Now. We have this folk / black metal combination by Myrkur titled Mareridt. I don't know how, I know I'm butchering that, but this is a huge improvement from her debut album, which I thought sucked. Like, this is leaps and bounds better in the writing department, and the sounds and everything else are so much more improved as well. At number 37, John Darnielle comes through with a orchestral sort of storytelling album in his group The Mountain Goats titled Goths, where he goes through goth history and goth culture. At number 36, we have the punk industrial gospel combination in Algiers coming through with the rebellious, powerful, and lyrically driven The Underside of Power. In number 35, we have hip-hop group or boy band Brockhampton coming through with Saturation 1. And at number 34, we have the metalcore, grindcore insanity that is Idylls with the Barn. At number 33, abstract rapper Milo comes through with Who Told You to Think. And at number 32, we have a beautiful Amerikkana blues combination with Valerie June on the Order of Time. At number 31, we have Joey Badass with All American Badass, his mainstream rap political album where he just really came into his own, in my opinion. At number 30, we have King Gizzard and the Lizard Wizard with their psychedelic garage rock mixed with microtonal instruments on the Flying Microtonal Banana. At number 29, we have Brockhampton once again, hip-hop group with Saturation 3. And at number 28, we have sludge metal noise group Primitive Man with some of the most nasty and disgusting soul-crushing metal I've ever heard on the project Caustic. At number 27, pop star Lorde comes back with Melodrama, in my opinion, her best album by far, and one of the most critically acclaimed albums of the year. At number 26, Big Krit, rapper, producer, singer, songwriter, comes through with his best project in a while, Forever is a Mighty Long Time, a massive conceptual piece that I think is definitely worth a listen. If you're a hip hop fan and you haven't heard it yet, you're messing up. All right, we're now in the top 25. At number 25, we have Dying Fetus with Wrong One to Fuck With. This is some brutal death metal. It is kind of typical for that style of death metal. We have the just animalistic drumming. We have the Cookie Monster growls for the vocals. We have the staccato good guitar riffs, but not only does Dying Fetus come through with some really ambitious song structures, in my opinion. Like, I think this is some death metal that never really gets stale. There's so many good transitions, and they know right when to switch it up or do something new to keep the song interesting, and it always happens in a way that makes sense. There's never a left hook out of nowhere, but also there's so much intensity in this death metal project. It's definitely worth a listen for people who are fans of that style of music. At number 24, we have emo group The World Is a Beautiful Place and I Am No Longer Afraid to Die with Always Foreign, and I really enjoyed this project. I think it's definitely more direct, and in a way, it does lose some of the complexity of their past albums, especially in terms of compositions, which is kind of a drawback, but there are benefits to it as well. For one, their lyrics are finally like discernible, and they seem like they actually mean something, and the lyrics do actually add a lot to this project, in my opinion. But also, I really like how direct, and some of these songs actually come off kind of punchy, which I like. This is just some really well-performed emo. There's a lot of great sounds, a lot of great songs, a lot of good moments on this album. At number 23, we have Billy Woods with Known Unknowns. Billy Woods is a New York progressive underground rapper. He brings some great lyrics and flows on this album. His hooks are extremely catchy. His rap style kind of is spoken word-ish, but he has a lot of aggression. He shouts every now and then. I really love the way he raps. This album took a while to grow on me, but between his just quirky and interesting lyrical style, his hooks, and the production from Blockhead, which is really great on this album, I just fell in love once I gave it that 10th, 11th listen, and now it's something I just go back to all the time. At number 22, we have Death From Above with Outrage Is Now. Death From Above is like a dance punk, just hard rock group, and this album it's just so punchy. It has so much charisma, so much personality, so much oomph. Like it just reeks confidence. It's kind of what you expect from a rock band in this style. I love the hooks. I love the production and sound quality. Like, the drums sound so freaking punchy on this album. I love that. Now, even though Death From Above is a rock band without a guitarist, the drums, the bass, they just bring so much intensity, so much to pay attention to, and the singing is also quite good on this album. If you're looking for a really good rock album in 2017, in my opinion, this is definitely one of the ones you need to check out. At number 21, we have Creeper with Eternity in Your Arms. Creeper is a UK pop punk goth band, and this is just some fun pop punk. I couldn't deny it. Maybe it's not the kind of music that I generally like, but between the hooks, the singing, which it's a little but it has a lot of personality to it, has a lot of charm. The song structures, in my opinion, this album is just fun. It has a lot of energy, has a lot of just fun to be had in the songs, a lot of catchy hooks. I want to say almost every hook on this album is catchy, and it's just growing on me throughout the year more and more. I just have more and more love for it as I listen to it. So yeah, definitely give this album a shot. At number 20, we have Rhapsody with Layla's Wisdom. Rhapsody is a rapper, and this album is produced by Ninth Wonder. But Rhapsody, she is just fantastic. Her wordplay, her flow, especially on this album, she comes through with tons of good content, tons of good punchlines, tons of just entertaining things to pay attention to. This is easily one of the most underrated hip hop albums of the year, in my opinion. Definitely worth a shot if you're one of those people who thinks that, you know, there's no lyrical rap in 2017 because you live under a rock. Try this album. You'll like it, probably. it definitely comes with a jazzy, soulful, funky, To Pimp a Butterfly inspired instrumental palette, which I did enjoy. And like I said, Rhapsody just kills it on this thing. She brings some good features, but she more than holds her own with every single one of them. She does her thing. Give this project some love. At number 19, we have Jay-Z with 444. Jay-Z doesn't need an intro, but man, this is his most personal album. It definitely, lyrically, it's definitely different from anything he's made before. You're not getting the same braggadocious, confident, almost arrogant at times Jay-Z that was his persona. This time you're getting a broken man, a defeated man, and you're getting a lot more personal with him. The production is beautiful. There's lots of good sample work on these beats, and I love just the way that Jay-Z gave us this side of him. This is the kind of album that I want from like a artist who's past their prime, might not have the same kind of ability to craft what they once did. Jay-Z just comes through with something that I think is fantastic and actually does have a good bit of replay value for me. At number 18, we have Yoral Droog with Pax. Yoral Droog is a New York MC, and this dude has a husky voice, very reminiscent of Nas and The Game combined, in my opinion. And this guy is just a lyricist. He comes through with punchlines, stories, song topics, all of it over some really nice production. Features are great on this album too. Yeah, this is one of the best rap albums of the year in my opinion, and I just love how well Droog not only pays respect to New York, but he's still doing his own thing. And again, I have to say the lyrics on this thing are so good. There's so many bars that are like screenshot worthy, that are like you pause the song and replay like, wait, did he actually say that? Like those kinds of bars on this album. This stuff is really good. At number 17, we have Foxygen with Hang. Foxygen come through with a really beautiful album here. It's short, but it's sweet. We have a band that typically likes to take a variety of influences, chop them up, and just put them together without any care in the world. And they do that now with a pit orchestra. So you're coming through with just like one style and motif, just directly cuts to another thing, directly cuts into another thing. And one thing that I have liked about Foxygen is that when they influence something, they wear it on their sleeve. It's almost obvious where they're drawing influence from sometimes, but they put so many different influences together that it just comes through feeling like it's theirs. And we get a lot of that on this album, Hang. Definitely a gorgeous album. The singing is Foxygen, meaning it has a lot of character. It might not be great singing, but it has a lot of charm and personality, character, as I said before. Overall, just a fantastic project, in my opinion. Lots to love about it. At number 16, we have a collaboration from doom metal band The Body and grindcore band Full of Hell with Ascending a Mountain of Heavy Light. This is one of the most disgusting metal albums I've heard all year, yet it somehow sounds warm and almost bright, and I think I love that about it. This is some methodical doom metal with very aggressive grindcore passages. There's so much sound play and texture. There's even some free jazz incorporated in this album, which I really love, and a few other choices that might not always go over well, but both of these bands take tons of risk, really experimenting, making some left field metal music, and they come through with some great sounds, some great compositions and songs. But again, you combine the aggression of a band like Full of Hell with the sound and texture of The Body, and you're just getting something spectacular. This is, in my opinion, better than their collaborative album last year. They actually made something a little more dynamic, in my opinion, and I think it incorporates Full of Hell a lot better than the first project did. But again, that's just my take on that. At number 15, we have the self-titled album from Jason Eady. Jason Eady is a country artist. He really brings a very gritty, personal style of country. This isn't like pop country shit. This is very intimate acoustic songs with tons of lyrics that aren't cliche. We're talking storytelling, we're talking personal stuff, we're talking about really emotional country at times. And he does bring the emotions on songs like Not Too Loud. Like songs like that really do tug at the heartstrings in my opinion. And the lyrics throughout this album are just spectacular. The performances, the songs. Jason Eady really is the kind of country that I love and look for. And I truly am just amazed with how well all of this was put together. Again, country fans, this is the kind of country that needs some support. Country that's actually about the artistry, giving a portrayal of someone's life, giving that sort of raw, gritty kind of feeling that old school country has. Yeah, just give this thing some love, please. At number 14, we have Poppy with Poppy.Computer. This pop album was kind of an enigma to me. I think it's one that's generally misunderstood, but I think it's one that's very entertaining. For one, the sound palette we have here is some very sweet, some very pretty, some very sugary pop. And Poppy herself, in her lyrics, depicts sort of this character that is very technology obsessive to the point where she almost has like a sexual relationship with technology, and is very narcissistic, very much a typical pop star. And all of these things are her characters in her YouTube videos, if you've seen those as well. But what I think it does so well is I feel like in many ways Poppy.Computer is almost a reflection on society. Like, I think the obsession with technology can be reflected in how society is. I think the need to have a typical relationship that follows Instagram trends is something that's reflective on society and our need for approval from people that don't even really matter, and stuff like that throughout the album. I think this is a really smart pop album, and I had a lot of fun with it. And yeah, that's really all there is to it. At number 13, we have the Magia Veterum with Naked Swords in the Wombs of the Enemy. This is some nasty black metal. Really atmospheric, really builds a dark vibe. It's very rough. There's not much in the way of intros and outros. The recording quality is a bit rough, but that's what I like about it. There's tons of grit. You feel the energy. You feel like you're experiencing the performances in person. The screams on this album are just insane. Like the way they sound, it reminds me of like some villain in some sort of superhero flick, or maybe a Star Wars villain. I could see that being a thing. But it's just so nasty, so abrasive. I love the energy it brings. I like the songs. I love the sounds that are brought here. So yeah, just probably my favorite black metal project of the year. Just really fantastic stuff. At number 12, we have Father John Misty with Pure Comedy. Father John Misty really brings a level of lyricism and I think songwriting, and I really enjoyed this project from Father John Misty. It might be one that gets a lot of hate, and I get why. Some people say it's pretentious. I get it. Some people think it's boring. I get it. Fine, whatever. To me, I find it thoroughly entertaining. The lyrics are hilarious. I think they're witty. I like the parts of society that Father John Misty is dissecting. I like all that a lot. And I do think the instrumental and sonic palette that it comes with, while it may not carry the album by any means, I think it's enjoyable. I think it's easy to listen to, and I certainly don't mind it. In fact, I think that the instrumentals and Josh Illman singing is certainly up to snuff. And when you combine that with the lyrical content, you get a very enjoyable LP. At number 11, we have Igloo Ghost with Neo Wax Bloom. Igloo Ghost is a producer who makes very wild, very eccentric electronic music that combines EDM, IEM, hip-hop, wonky. Pretty much, it feels like everything under the sun at times because there's so many unique things that happens here. Similar to the Desi Shira EP that I shouted out earlier, though not with as much abrasiveness or noise elements in my opinion, but still, Igloo Ghost is just insane with this album. This is some bubbly, energetic, enjoyable kind of electronic stuff. I just enjoy the sound of it. I enjoy the instrumentals here. They stand on their own. They have tons of personality, tons of interesting progressions. The compositions here are great because they never get stale because there's so much kinesis, there's so much movement within the instrumental. At number 10, we have Run the Jewels with RTJ3, Killer Mike, LP, third project. These two hip-hop legends come back and bring something fantastic once again. The production from LP is great. The verses from both of these guys are freaking awesome. We finally get some more political stuff from both of them, which is much enjoyed because they both are good at that, especially Killer Mike. That's right up his alley. And yeah, this is a group that you should know about if you're a hip-hop fan. LP is arguably one of the greatest producers of all time and one of the best lyricists, if we're being honest. And they just do their thing on this album. Killer Mike's rap flow and delivery has so much punch, so much personality, so much swagger. This is just a great hip-hop album. One that I definitely recommend. And yeah, this is just fantastic. It came out late 2016. I put it on my 2017 list because it is what it is. At number 9, we have Perfume Genius with No Shape. This is a very beautiful and densely arranged indie pop singer-songwriter kind of project here from Mike Hadrius, aka Perfume Genius. Lyrically and vocally, his voice is just delicate, but it has so much gumption to it. Like, it has such a purpose. I love his voice. I love his lyrics as well. A lot of the songs here are wonderfully arranged. There's so much instrumentation packed into each song. There's definitely a lot of layers here, but it never feels cluttered. It never feels overbearing. It never feels like Perfume Genius is just adding stuff to add stuff. Everything feels like it has a purpose on these songs, and everything enhances each other in the project. Just overall, a fantastic singer-songwriter project. One that is just, to me, one of the most re-listenable projects of the year. I can put this on at any time and just enjoy it. At number 8, we have Sharon Jones and the Dap Kings with Soul of a Woman. Sharon Jones, this album was recorded right before Sharon Jones passed away after losing a battle with cancer. And if you aren't familiar with Sharon Jones and the Dap Kings, for the past, for a long time, they've been this soul revitalist group. Tons of classic albums under their belt. It's Christmas time. If you go to Barnes and Noble, they're selling the Sharon Jones Christmas Soul album. It's her most popular album this time of year. Completely iconic soul artist is the point I'm trying to get across here. And this right here is definitely some of, in my opinion, the best work from not only her but this band. The vocal performances on this album are full of just power. They're gorgeous. The range she showed is incredible. Some of the lyrics are definitely touching. They definitely hit you, especially on songs like Call on God. That song in particular just really freaking hit me. The instrumentals on this album too are also just fantastic. They're beautiful. There's some great soul instrumentals. The only thing really holding back this album for me was not only some mixing choices that, well, even if they were intentional, I don't care for. And then also I had the obvious nitpicks here and there, but all of that aside, this is a fantastic album. One of the best of the year. Sharon Jones, rest in peace to her, but this is just incredible soul in my opinion. At number 7, we have Tyler, the Creator, with Flower Boy. I hope he comes out. I hope Tyler's able to come out with albums that make Flower Boy look mediocre. Only time will tell, but I'm definitely paying attention to what Tyler, the Creator, does a lot harder than I was before. At number 6, we have Uncommon NASA with Written at Night. Uncommon NASA is a New York rapper, producer, audio engineer, just someone who has had his hands in the New York indie hip hop scene for a very, very long time. This album, though, is the first one where he produced it entirely himself. I'm pretty sure he mixed and mastered the entire thing. And this is a concept album about having to create an album at night, sort of. You get those late night musings, those late night thoughts. And as the album progresses further, we're getting deeper into the night as NASA gives you these timestamps. And the concepts of the songs, the lyrics, the instrumentals just become wilder as the album progresses, which is really freaking cool. And just lyrically, there's so many gems on this album, some really great political songs, and there's tons of features, and NASA really handles them well. While I did want more from him, I think the execution of having these features, like know what's going on with the song, and just the placement of them is just phenomenal. This is one of my favorite projects by him, if not my favorite. I love this thing to death. It's fantastic. In my opinion, it is the best hip-hop album in that progressive abstract rap style, because you're going to get those kinds of those wonky spoken word flows along with really nice wordplay. This is just a fantastic hip-hop album, and the production from NASA is so freaking good. Some of the samples he chooses, I really like. The way that each beat just is clunky but has so much personality. There's just so much to love on this album. At number 5, we have Alex Cameron with Forced Witness. This is just a really insane and, in my opinion, intelligent soft rock synth pop album. We're talking like some Tom Petty, Bruce Springsteen type of music in 2017, but with a lyrical edge to it that is kind of off-putting at first, because Alex Cameron is sort of portraying this character who is a scumbag. He's sleazy. He's kind of gross. He's looking for women on the internet, essentially. And there's song after song of him going of his exploits, whether it be getting catfished or being hooked on this girl that's like underage, and he's just waiting for her to turn 18, or even the song "Stranger's Kiss," where he sort of has this sort of issue with an ex, but like you sort of get the idea of his lifestyle off of that song, that sort of afraid of commitment kind of lifestyle. Or even Candy May, where he just feels like he has to stay with this girl, but he doesn't want to break her heart with what he does. Yeah, it's a strange album, especially after your first few listens, but I think not only is the character really well realized, and the songwriting is fantastic. This, even if this style of music doesn't have a lot of punch, Alex Cameron just brings catchy hooks. He brings good compositions, and that sort of thing carry the album at first while you're trying to get a grasp of what's happening lyrically. And once you understand that it's a character portrait, it becomes even more interesting as to why Alex would actually make this kind of character. And I think it can be seen as like a view of masculinity. It could be seen as maybe people that Alex has met in real life, or maybe he's just pointing out a lot of the flaws of men. Either way, the character portrait is phenomenal. The instrumental is phenomenal. The performance is phenomenal. The hooks so freaking catchy. Yeah, it's a fantastic project. At number 4, we have Mount Eerie with Crow Looked at Me. Definitely not a traditional album for these kinds of lists. Mount Eerie, Phil Elverum. This album is just sad. I don't even know if I need to go into Phil's history and his illustrious history as a musician. Just, I think I'll go straight into the album. This album was written because Phil Elverum's wife passed away with cancer, and you sort of get an almost chronological set of poetry set on very minimalist guitar instrumentals, where he's sort of like recounting what he feels, what he's thinking, what's happening in his head, how the world is reacting to him, and it is just so emotionally potent. That's why it made it here. It's not the kind of album that I can like hop on in the car and jam to by any means at all. It's not even really an album that I would say is good for re-listening all that often, though I do occasionally come back to it. But it's just emotionally potent. The way it initially impacted me has just, I haven't forgotten it. There hasn't been an album in, I don't know, and it's, we'll say, a while that has emotionally impacted me front to back like this one has. Not only that, but the poetry is beautiful. And even though the instrumentals are very low key, they are very laid back. Like you're not gonna, the instrumentals certainly don't carry the songs, but they're still very interesting. They still sound nice. For real though, it's the lyrics that make this album so potent, and that's why I love it. I love it because there hasn't been many projects that make me think about my life, my family, my friends, all that stuff as much as this one has. We have Jason Isbell with the Nashville sound. Jason Isbell comes through with this southern rock country album here. He's an alternative country artist, and this is just such an interesting album. I freaking love this thing. While it may not have the grittiness that Jason Eady's album has, and I think for people looking for traditional country, that might be a turnoff because Jason Isbell's voice certainly has a lot of. It's certainly not gritty. It's certainly not grimy. It's very beautiful. But I think the singing on this album is great. The lyrics are really great, especially songs like "If We Were Vampires." Like that one is just so emotionally potent. But there's just so many great southern rock and country songs here. I think the songs really hold this album up, and I've been in love with this album since it dropped. It's one of those albums that I play a lot. It is enjoyable. It has tons of fun country songs, tons of great lyrics that really hold it up, whether Jason is getting political or he's talking about economic statuses of people in the areas he grew up in, stuff like that. There's just so much to this album, in my opinion. It's definitely my favorite country album of this year. This was a UK R&B artist, and wow, was I blown away by this debut album from him. Not only does he have a buttery, smooth voice that I love, but the production on this album is so quirky, tons of electronics incorporated in it. And while this album is very laid back, it does have a chill vibe to it. It's not gonna punch you in the teeth with boldness. The vocals are great, the lyrics are great, and the songs are freaking there. And that's really what it comes down to. An album doesn't need to be punchy in your face, especially if the songs are well written, because nothing will get boring, nothing will get stale, and certain parts will just be so memorable because of how the songs and the compositions are constructed. And that's just apparent on this album, in my opinion. And my favorite album of the year, Brockhampton Saturation 2. I love this thing. I freaking love this thing. Is it perfect? No, it's not. I have complaints about it. There was no album that got a perfect score from me this year. No album where I even considered it. Fine. But for me, even though Brockhampton, with their first two Saturations, they created very similar projects, I feel like Saturation 2 fixed almost every single complaint I had with Saturation 1. On Saturation 1, the vocal effects got a little too obnoxious at times. I feel like they fixed that on Saturation 2. In Saturation 1, there's this lull in the middle part of the album where there's so many of these low-key cuts that just get boring real quick. I didn't have that issue with Saturation 2. In Saturation 1, the closer is a complete Frank Ocean ripoff, in my opinion, without any individuality, any personality. Yeah. And while the closer in Saturation 2 is similar in style, it just has so much more oomph to it. Hell, even the even this is where we started to see them add vocal or add backing instrumentation to Roberto in the scenes. So yeah, this is my favorite album this year. I know, probably a weird pick, but it's the one that I love, and it's my list. Yeah. So if you're into posse cut kind of hip hop with, in my opinion, very unique production styles, while it is a very accessible type of rap album, it does have a lot of personality too. There's tons and tons to love about this album. I love how the members in Brockhampton, throughout all three of the saturations, to be fair, they all have their own unique styles, their own personalities, and I think on a project like this, they really keep each other fresh because I can only imagine that a good chunk of the people in the group probably couldn't make a good solo album on their own. They would just become redundant. But with so many of them here, that whole thing is broken up easily. Those are my favorite albums of the year. Thank you for sticking with me throughout this gauntlet of talking. Yeah, let me know what you like this year. What were your favorite albums? Give me a list in the comments. Tell me an album I missed. Tell me why you think Father John Misty album's overrated and shouldn't be on this list. Whatever. Tell me what you want to tell me. Anyway, thank you for watching, and I'll see you on the next video.